The Platform 2 is out on Netflix, sequel to the 2019 dystopian sci-fi philosophical allegory horror film, once again directed by Gaztelu-Urrutia, this time starring Milena Smith. The setup is basically the same as in the original. There's a facility called the Pit, which consists of 333 floors, with each one being essentially a bare cell for two people. The people in there either serve a sentence for something that they did or sign up voluntarily in exchange for some favor or boon. Through the center, there is an empty shaft, and through that shaft, a platform descends every day, stopping for 2 minutes at each floor. And the platform contains enough food to theoretically feed every person in there, but of course, in reality, as some people on top end up eating more than their share, the others down below then get less and eventually nothing. And then at the end of each month, the people are randomly reassigned to different floors. That is all the same. What this movie explores with a new protagonist is an attempt by the people to introduce order by insisting that everyone only eats their own dish. Because apparently when you first go in, you select your favorite food, and that is what will then appear on the platform. And then, if you eat more, the believers of this new order will come down on the elevator and beat you up. So it's this attempt at a quasi-socialist order, which quickly goes into extremism, and that in turn breeds resistance. So the first film was, in my opinion, amazing. And in fact, I went back and checked. I ranked it at number 9 of my favorite movies of 2020, which is when it was released in Poland. I thought that the social commentary it offered was very biting, even if pretty blunt and unsubtle, and was a generally well thought out philosophical exercise. Unfortunately, the sequel turns out to be a massive disappointment and a film not worth the time investment. It ends up doing a lot of the same stuff, but worse. There's no more novelty and surprise at learning all the rules and mechanics of the facility, so that feels largely like a retread. What we get instead is a lot more violence and action, which, I'm sorry to say, is not shot well. All looks rather poorly. So every time they would end up fighting and murdering each other, I kept thinking, why don't we just go back to the slow conversational tone of the first film? But in here there are maybe like 3 scenes like that in total. There are logical plot holes here and there with characters having information that you cannot imagine how they got. There is also a weird sequence intercut with the main storyline, which features these scenes of children playing on a pyramid structure, which happens to also be at the bottom of the facility, I suppose. And initially, I thought this was supposed to just mirror what was going on in the Pit in terms of the society there, but then at the end they tried to fold that into the main narrative, and turns out that the one kid from there does end up being physically present in the Pit, which just doesn't make sense to me. Either go for a metaphor or have it be a literal thing, but doing both doesn't work. And in general, the final 20 minutes of the movie are a lot of nonsense piled together. It feels like the movie just completely got away from the director by that point. So yeah, I didn't like it. I thought this was a vastly inferior and unnecessary sequel to a good movie that never really needed a follow-up. I'd advise to skip this one.